Hello, everyone, and welcome. We're from Back to Your Roots Herbs, and really excited today to explore a plant that's just, well, fascinating. It's Morinda lucida.
It really is something. It's native to tropical Africa, and it has this great common name, the brimstone tree.
Brimstone tree, right, because of the yellow wood.
Exactly, that distinct yellow color. It sort of hints at its uniqueness.
It does, and it's been used for, well, generations, hasn't it, across West, Central, East Africa, playing a big role in traditional health practices.
Absolutely, a really significant role.
So today we want to focus on those traditional uses, but also what modern science is starting to uncover about its potential
All
benefits.
right, we've been looking at various ethnopharmacological reviews, scientific papers, trying to get a rounded picture.
Okay, so where should we start? Maybe with one of its best-known uses.
Yeah, let's start with fever, especially malaria. I mean, it's used for that across places like Nigeria, Benin, Ghana. It's really widespread traditionally.
And the science is looking into this too.
It is. And what's compelling is that studies are actually showing antiplasmodial activity. So that's activity against the malaria parasite, like Plasmodium burkei in mice and Plasmodium falciparum in lab tests.
So the extracts seem to reduce the parasite load.
Yeah, in those animal models, that's what they observed. It's quite a strong link between the tradition and the lab work.
It really is something to see that kind of alignment. And it wasn't just fever, right? There was also traditional use for inflammation
Well,
and pain.
that's right. Things like arthritis, helping with wounds,
Yeah.
general aches and pains.
Okay. And the science, does it support that as well?
It seems to. Again, studies in rat models have shown anti-inflammatory effects, sometimes even comparable to standard drugs they use as a control.
Wow. Comparable.
In some specific models, yes, they've seen reductions in inflammatory markers, things like nitric oxide and prostaglandin E2.
And do they know what in the plant might be doing that?
They've actually identified some specific compounds, iridoids. They're called ML22 and ML23. These seem to have both analgesic, that's pain relieving, and anti-inflammatory properties.
How do they work? Do they know?
Well, the research suggests they might act on the body's opioid receptors, part of our natural pain relief system. And they also seem to inhibit COX2, an enzyme heavily involved in inflammation.
So, kind of like how some modern pain meds work, but from a plant source.
Exactly. It's quite fascinating chemistry.
Definitely. Okay, moving on. Another traditional area was diabetes management.
Yes, that's another use noted in various African regions.
Hmm.
And preclinical studies, again, mostly in animal models, have shown some blood glucose lowering effects.
Interesting. Is the mechanism clear on that one?
Not entirely. That's still an area where more research is needed to understand exactly how it might be working. But the initial findings are, encouraging.
It makes you appreciate the depth of observation in traditional practices. What about infections? That was mentioned too.
hmm Traditionally used for various kinds of infections. And lab studies have backed this up to an extent, showing antibacterial activity against several types of bacteria.
So it fights bacteria. What about fungi?
The evidence there is a bit more mixed, actually. Some studies suggest potential antifungal activity, but others haven't found strong evidence. So that needs more investigation, really.
Okay. Now, something maybe broader. Antioxidant potential. Protecting cells from damage. Was that a traditional focus?
Not always explicitly, perhaps, but you could say its use for conditions related to cellular stress kind of hints at it. And scientifically, yes, there's good evidence.
Like what?
Lab tests show significant free radical scavenging activity,
Mhm.
mopping up those damaging molecules. And in vivo studies, studies in living animals have also shown antioxidant effects, things like protecting the liver and kidneys from certain types of damage.
And that's likely linked to the plant's compounds.
Absolutely. It's known to be rich in things like phenolic compounds and flavonoids, which are well-known antioxidants.
Right, that makes sense. You mentioned the liver. I remember seeing jaundice listed as a traditional use. Does that point towards liver benefits?
It certainly suggests a traditional understanding related to liver health.
Hmm.
And preclinical work seems to support this. Studies show it can help protect against chemically induced liver injury in animal models.
How does it do that?
Researchers observed that it helped lower elevated liver enzymes. Those are markers of liver stress, and seemed to promote the recovery of the liver tissue itself.
That sounds very positive.
It does. Though it's important to add a note of caution from one study. It suggested that very high doses, at least in animal models, might potentially lead to some fat accumulation in the liver.
Ah, okay. So, like with many things, balance is key, not just assuming more is better.
Precisely. Responsible use is always crucial when working with potent natural substances.
Were there other traditional uses that science has looked into? Seems like quite a versatile plant.
There are a few others, yeah. Briefly, its traditional use against sleeping sickness seems supported by studies showing activity against the trypanosoma parasite and
Okay.
its use for intestinal worms. Well, research has shown activity against nematodes, a type of worm.
Interesting. Anything else?
There was a study suggesting it promotes gastric emptying and intestinal motility. That could align with its traditional use sometimes as a laxative or purgative.
Ah, so helping things move along, basically.
Kind of, yeah. And one more, it even showed activity against certain snails, the kind that carry the parasite causing schistosomiasis.
Wow, that's quite a range. From malaria parasites to snails.
It really is an extensive list of potential actions, isn't it?
Yeah.
Many rooted in tradition and now increasingly being explored with scientific methods.
It really highlights the incredible potential within these plants.
Definitely. And Morinda lucida is a prime example.
Before we wrap up, there's one other aspect, isn't there? It's not just medicinal. The cultural significance as a dye.
Oh, absolutely. That's quite well known. The root bark, especially, gives these vibrant yellow to reddish dyes.
I think I read the Ashanti people in Ghana use it.
That's right, famously for their red mourning cloths. The wood can yield dyes too, and in some places it was even used to sort of enhance indigo dyes.
So practical uses beyond health as well.
A truly multi-purpose plant.
Well, this has been really insightful. It's clear Morinda lucida, the brimstone tree, has such a rich history and, a lot of ongoing scientific interest.
The convergence of traditional knowledge and modern research is really compelling here.
It really is. If you listening want to explore Morinda lucida further for yourself, you can visit us at www.backtoyourrootsherbs.com.
Yeah, and we'll put a direct link for more information right in the description below this recording.
Perfect. It really makes you appreciate the gifts nature holds and how we're still on this journey of understanding and using them wisely for our well-being.
A journey well worth taking.